Hey, welcome back. So today we're going to talk about homeschool. So a couple months back, I did a video where I unboxed our Abeka homeschool order. And I went through the cost, what we got using the Abeka Academy, what it cost per child, everything that came in the kit and all of that. And I'll link that in the description box so that you are able to click on that if you have not seen it and you really want it. Like I actually show the receipt so you can see the cost. I literally, the order came in all the boxes for both kids and we unboxed it, went through everything. So again, I will link that in the description box below if you have not watched that. However, since then, I have gotten quite a few follow-up questions and requests to answer some of these questions on video for those of you that are thinking about homeschooling, trying to make a decision, trying to figure this out. Like when you dive into the whole homeschooling world, especially in the crazy times that we live in today, it can be kind of confusing. There's all these curriculums and which one's better and which one's worse. And, you know, because I believe at the core, all of us parents want the best for our kids, right? But we also want our own sanity as well. So if we can do what's best for them and stay sane, that's like a win-win. And so I kind of want to go through these questions and answer them to the best of my ability. I am not a professional. I'm a mom. I am a work from home mom who works from home and has 3 kids. And so, you know, and as a mom, their education is very important to me. So I want to, because I want to set them up to succeed in their future. So anyway, we use, if you didn't watch the first video, we used Abeka. Abeka is a Christian-based program. It's one of the oldest programs in homeschooling, if you will. So they've been doing this for a very long time. And it's really simple. You know, I'm a firm believer that if you want to figure out what program, what makeup, what restaurant to use, go ask people that you know that have had good results. And we have several family members, friends, and acquaintances that have used Abeka and had really great results with their kids. Like their kids were smart, their kids tested well, their kids had a good grasp. Some of these kids have gone on to college. Some of these kids are young adults. Some of these kids are married. And we just watch the track record. Why? Because you can read anything online, but until you see that thing walk its way all the way through, everything's a guessing game. It's an experiment. So based on the fruit, what we had seen in other friends and families, kids that have used this program, that is what we decided to do. Abeka is a full curriculum. I know there's some where you use a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this. I'm really not about that. I wanted the full meal deal. Like I wanted the whole meal. I didn't want to go to KFC to get the mashed potatoes, McDonald's to get the Big Mac, Taco Bell to get the taco. Like I wanted it all at one place. And so that is why we chose to go with one curriculum. And so if you're looking on the Abeka website, and again, if you go back and watch the video, I did the whole unboxing. We've used both. So they have what's called the Abeka curriculum, and then there's the Abeka Academy. And a lot of times if you're just looking at the website, the biggest thing you'll see is a price difference and you don't understand what the heck that is. And so we did the regular student kit for Abeka the first couple years. And this is one of the questions. What was the difference between the Academy and like the regular student kit that's cheaper than the Academy? Like what's the difference? So if you're gonna go with the regular student kit, that's gonna come with all the child's books. So it's gonna come with their math book, their phonics, their spelling, their poetry. It's gonna come with the entire, everything they need, their workbooks, their tests, all of that. With that student kit, you then have to purchase the teacher kit. The teacher kit's gonna have a lesson plan inside of it. It's gonna have the key to the test. And inside of this book, it's literally gonna break down lesson 1, phonics. Say this, like it literally tells you, say this, do this, use this. The teacher kit's gonna come with different visuals that you can use with the kids, but you are the teacher. So if you have one child, you'd purchase one student kit and you would purchase one teacher kit. They're gonna tell you what to do, but you have to have the teacher's kit to be able to teach it. use it. It gives you all the lesson plans. So you're not making lesson plans. You're not figuring out what to teach them, when to teach it to them. Becca figures all that for you. They give you the template on what to do. We did that the first 2 years. We did that for kindergarten and first grade. And if I'm being 100% honest, I did not love it. I didn't. I found myself many days being frustrated, and like by the time we were done with school, I was just, at that point we had done school all morning, and then they got to go play, and then I got to go do whatever it is that I had to do. And so I had heard about the academy. The academy is that same lesson plan, except you don't teach it. They have a teacher who teaches it, and it comes on either DVDs or you can stream it. And so it's a classroom setting. So imagine a teacher in a classroom with kids, but they're filming it. Okay. And the teacher's talking to the kids are participating, the kids are going up to the front, but there's a camera with really good sound, really good audio, and it brings the kids in as if they're in the class. She actually talks to the kids at home, and you have a professional teacher teaching it. And I can remember when we first made the decision to go to the academy, and I can remember feeling like guilty, like, I don't know, am I a bad mom because I don't want to teach? Am I a bad mom because I don't love this? Like, am I a bad mom because, obviously I don't believe that because you don't love teaching, you're a bad parent. So we decided to go with the academy in grade 2. And so we ordered the academy, all their lessons came on a DVD. So when you open it up, and you can pick DVD or streaming, so one disc is lesson 1 and 2. And then they come in these little sleeves, and all of your discs are right inside of here. And you press play. And so this year they're in 3rd grade. They have Bible, they have math, reading, language, spelling, history, science, art, and seat work. Seat work is like their homework, which I'm going to talk about here in a second. But the teacher's standing there teaching them, and they're sitting learning as if they're in the classroom. And so, when we switched over last year and they started learning from the academy, I can remember after the first day, I was like, oh my gosh, I have done my kids a disservice, because here was a professional teacher teaching them that knew what she was doing. Like when she was teaching them phonics and how to pronounce and all the special sounds and the complex language that we learned, but we don't remember learning. And now I'm like, how did I learn all this? This is a crap ton of stuff, all these specialty sounds and whatever. But she was able to communicate with them from a teacher's standpoint, and she never got frustrated. And so she was their main teacher, and I was the on-site teacher. So she was able to show them what shape their mouth should be making for this sound or that sound. She had all the visuals set up in her classroom. It was just a better student, in my opinion, a better student experience for my kids. They had more fun, and I got to be the on-site teacher. So that's the difference between the academy and just the regular you teaching them. All right. One of the questions was, is it hands off? Like if you go with the academy, are they just completely on their own? I'm going to say no, no, and no. So I'm the on-site teacher. So there's times where they'll have to finish work and they finish it with me. I'm the on-site teacher. I have to check their work because I still get the answer keys. They read to me. There's times like when my daughter isn't getting something that I'll have to pause the video and explain it to her or rewind it to make sure she's getting it. It's not hands off. I sit at the table 80% of the time while they're doing school, and I will, be working on my laptop, or I'll be prepping stuff in the kitchen because our kitchen overlooks our dining room where they're working at. But I very rarely leave completely. Like sometimes during Bible, I'll go upstairs and take a shower. But other than that, it's not, I will say my niece and nephew do Abeka, and for them, they've been doing Abeka since, that's all they've ever done. And my sister-in-law says it's pretty hands-off for her. Like, she still checks on them. She makes sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Plus, she tests them so she can tell if they're getting it or they're not getting it. But they've been doing it. So as they develop, I could tell the difference in this year and last year. This year, they're in 3rd grade. Last year, they were in 2nd grade. Just 1 year of them doing the academy, they're a little bit more independent. Like right now, while I'm up here, they're downstairs doing their homework while I'm up here. So they do get more dependent, but if you're just switching, they do need that accountability to make sure they are watching and paying attention. All right, so someone asked, how long does it take? So we start, let me just say, one of the most important things for me, one of the reasons why schools students succeed inside of schools is their structure. And it is, whether you like structure or not, or whether I like structure or not, it doesn't really matter. It has been proven that kids thrive with structure. They don't thrive with loosey-goosey. They don't thrive with whatever we feel like doing. Children thrive with structure. And so I know this, prior to what I'm currently doing, I was a psychology major. I was going to college to be a child psychiatrist. And I was many years down that path when I made a change. And so one of the things that we learned while I was going to school to be a child psychiatrist was structure is key. And so many times as parents, we think it's like a sentence for them, like you have to do this, you have to do that. But children who have structure and children who don't have much different results. So children thrive when it comes to structure. So with that being said, schools have a structure. They don't show up when they want to and leave when they want to. They don't get up when they want to. They're not allowed just to have snacks at the desk and drinks and their feet propped up. Like, there's structure. And so it was very important to me as a mom to set my kids up to succeed so that we're all not frustrated. And so we start school at 8:30 a.m. every single morning. And I know without a shadow of a doubt, if I would not have made that line in the sand to start with, we would be starting school at 8:30, some days 8:45, some days 9:30, some days 10. We would do it just around our schedule versus which would be easier for me. But again, it's not about what's best for me. It's about what's best for them and what's going to set them up to succeed. So we start school every morning at 8:30, and we are normally done with all the lessons by 12:30. So 8:30 to 12:30, and they get one 15-minute break in those 4 hours, and then they have lunch. So they eat breakfast before 8:30, then they have 8:30 to 12:30. They have a 15-minute break in the middle there, and then they eat lunch. After lunch, the only thing they typically have is reading and seat work. And I'll walk you through what seat work looks like. That's their homework per se. And their seat work takes them anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, depending on how diligent they're being and how much they're dinking around. Now, what I will say is so it takes us about 4 hours to finish with our entire day of 3rd grade. That's all the teaching, the math, the science, the history, the language, Bible, spelling. Am I missing something? So that's all of it. And then 1 day a week they have art. So how long does it take? So that's us. 4 hours, 8:30 to 12:30, and then they have a little bit of homework, a little bit of reading, and that's it. That's our day. And does it keep their attention? I will say it does a really good job with keeping their attention, but like anything else, they're kids, right? So you sometimes have to redirect them. And for us in the beginning, someone asked, how do you make them pay attention? Well, you can't necessarily make them pay attention, but there can be a consequence if they're not. So if my kids aren't paying attention, like today, for example, they got a case of the let's touch each other's in between school. So we were halfway through their math lesson and they were not paying attention. They were poking each other and putting their legs on one another. And so if I see them doing that, I don't get frustrated. I don't get mad. I just start the lesson over. So I'll grab the remote and I'll say, hey, you guys weren't paying attention. I want to make sure that you're getting all this so you don't fall behind. So we're going to start it over. And It only takes me starting it over a couple times before they all of a sudden are not touching each other at all. And yeah, so, and that's just the rule in our household. If you're not paying attention, we start it over. It keeps me from getting frustrated. It's a consequence for them. And yeah, so that's what we do if they're not, that's what I do if they're not paying attention. I've just found it works the best for us. All right. Do we use the same program or supplement? I kind of went over that in the beginning. Again, look, I've raised my kids using my life experiences that I've had. And in my experience, like for example, like I used to be extremely overweight. I was morbidly obese for a lot of life, and I tried different weight loss programs. And whenever I just try to sprinkle a little bit of this and a little bit of that and do a little bit of this and take a lot from here and there, I always ended up failing. It wasn't until I got a system and I followed it to the T that I had success. And so I was not trying to piece together 5 or 6 different, little bit of this, little bit of that, little bit of whatever's. I wanted an entire system that I could use. Do you hear my dog? We have a 7-pound Yorkie that's going nuts. I can bet you at the Amazon delivery guy right now. Anyway, I'm like, you're 7 pounds. What are you gonna do? You're 7 pounds. Like, he'll crush you with his boot. Anyway, or her. But, so I wanted something that I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to supplement. Everything was just all in one. Now, and to me, that was more important than somebody who had a better art or somebody who had a better this. I was looking for the better full meal deal, not piecing everything together. So we just use one curriculum and that's it. And of course, you know, we're the parents. So we teach them about finances and investing and being wise with their money. And we can sprinkle in other life things into that. You know, maybe when they get a little bit older, about buying investment properties, what to look for. They've been to investment properties with me where a tenant was switching and we had to get it cleaned or we had to do repairs. And so there's life lessons built into everything, but we just use the one curriculum. Do I feel it's too much or too little? So listen, there's a lot of opinions on this. Like I see all the time on social media. If it's more than this many hours, it's too much. If it's less, it's too much. Again, I am not a professional when it comes to teaching. I'm just not. I did not go to school for that. And so any opinion I have on it is just that. It's my opinion, which means nothing because I am not an expert when it comes to educating kids. Teachers went to school to figure out how to educate kids. And sure, there's a lot of flaws when it comes to the educational system. All of us know this. However, I truly believe that, you know, like everything they're learning inside of school is really important. You know, the only thing you could maybe take out is you didn't want them to have art once a week, or if you didn't think Bible was important and Bible's 30 minutes a day. Here at our household, I love them starting the day in the Word, learning scripture, learning life lessons. They do some singing, so it starts their day getting them uplifted and upbeat. But I think it's perfect. Sure, you can nitpick and it's too short, it's too long, but at the end of the day, nothing's perfect. And I've been really happy with the results that we've gotten. At the end of the day, they do have homework every single day, and it's called seat work. So let me find an example. So you have this book right here, and this is kind of my video manual. It tells me, like, so if you open it up to lesson 7, it's going to tell you what they're doing every single day, what the video is teaching them, and what they're going to need. So I can kind of follow this and say, hey, you guys need your Bible, get your Bible. I know when they have a test. I know all those things. And then they have an appendix in here, and the appendix walks them through the seat work. So I'll give you an example of what the homework is like, just so you can kind of see. So on day 14, every single day, they pretty much have to copy their spelling list, which consists of 17 spelling words and 3 vocabulary words. So they have to copy their spelling list. Here they had to round up. So they gave them 6 different numbers and they had to round. So what does that round to? They had to practice, every day they have to practice 1 row of uppercase and lowercase and then a word that uses those letters. They had to copy and explain a sentence. They had to write 2 sentences about what they do after school, and they had to draw a picture that tells a story about their family. So that was an example of one day of homework. I'll give you another example. Here's one. They had to write their spelling list. They had to write their 3 multiplication table. They had to write these numbers as money amounts. So they give them amounts and they had to write them as if they were money. They had to copy and explain Psalm 34:14. They had to write 2 sentences about how they get ready in the morning, and then they had to read a book. So their homework, again, depending on the day, they can get their homework done in 15 to 20 minutes, all the way up to 30 to 40 minutes, depending on how diligent they're being. If I'm sitting down there with them, and I just have a whiteboard that sits on my table, and I will write these out in the morning, and that's their homework, and then they're able to read, okay, here's my homework, and get it all done. And then I check it, of course. Inspect what you expect. Okay, the other, I had another question here. It says, am I concerned at all with socializing my kids? That used to be a really big concern for me. I went to public school, and my only experience with homeschooled kids was I had met a couple of kids that were homeschooled, and my perception of them when I was younger was they were weird. And so for some reason that stuck with me, and I was very against homeschool for a very long time because I didn't want my kids to be socially retarded. And my perception of homeschooled kids was socially retarded. I had only ever met 2. And when I got to be an adult and I got in the business world, I started meeting more homeschooled kids. The truth of the matter is a lot of your business people, a lot of your wealthy people, more people that homeschool versus send their kids to public school. So if you look at the kids that are homeschooled versus the kids that go to regular school, a larger percentage of people that have college educations homeschool their kids or have their kids homeschooled versus a regular school. And a lot of the reason why, and here was another thing that shocked me, is I started meeting these kids and they were so like dynamic and charismatic and outgoing. And I would then find out they were homeschooled and I was like, wait, what? Huh, I never knew that. And I can remember there was a gentleman one time doing a presentation on homeschool, and he was talking about the facts of homeschool. And he was talking about kids that are homeschooled, their test results are higher. Kids that are homeschooled statistically make more money. Kids that are homeschooled statistically have a lower divorce rate. And I was like, huh? So my children, again, these are just percentages, but on a sheer percentage basis are going to be likely test higher, have a lower divorce rate, make more money. Like, okay. And all of a sudden I was like, where did I ever get this harebrained idea in my head that, homeschool kids were weird? Because there's plenty of weird kids that go to public school. I just happened to, anyway, you catching what I'm laying down. So I was very concerned about this in the beginning. But here's the deal. Like, they actually have homeschool co-ops. Your kids can still participate in sports at the school if you choose for them to. You can take them to the park. We as parents are in charge of how much we socialize our kids. You can go to church. You can get them involved with different activities. Travel, put them in kids camp, whatever it is. Like, if you're worried about socialization, like this year, we just, our kids have never been in an activity. So my husband and I had a conversation, and we decided to put my son and daughter into martial arts. And it's so they get some more kid interaction, right? So you are in charge of the socialization, but like in a lot of cases, the homeschooled kids I met are more worldly socialized than the kids that go to public school. And so if you come from that area, or you met some weird kids when you were younger and you're like, you had the same judgment that I did, then I'm just going to tell you that's not true. And those aren't the facts. Those were just the feelings. And so, yeah, I was worried about it, but am I now? No, I'm not. Our kids are socialized. They're not awkward, anything like that. So, yeah. Let me see if I got all the questions. And then the last little tidbit, this is just something I do, is I made up these little sheets, and this just kind of lists off, this was the one from our week 1, and it lists off all the subjects. Okay. And down here I had about how long it should take. They actually tell you how long every subject takes. And I just kind of check them off as we go. It helps keep me like, okay, we're done. Okay, we're done. Okay, we're done. We only have this. And I started doing this last year, and this has just been amazing for me to keep track of where we're at inside of our day, what we still have, what we've done, what we haven't done, and all of that. So yeah. But other than that, if you have any other questions, let me know in the comments. I'll be glad to answer them. If you are just now watching this video and you had a question that I didn't answer, let me know in the comments. I'll be more than glad to answer it. And thanks so much for watching. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, make sure to do that. Ring the bell so that you don't miss any of our videos, fit tips, health tips, weight loss tips, and healthy recipes here on the channel. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.